Hello friends, and welcome to another Stitch with me. We have had some glorious sunshine here in Scotland and in the mainland UK, so yeah, I've been pretty much taking advantage of that and just enjoying this lovely weather, which, you know, in this part of the world isn't such a common thing to have such lovely sunshine. And I've also been sort of really busy with family visiting. I had my in-laws over for about a week, just over a week. So we spent a lot of time out and about, enjoying ourselves together. But it's nice to be back and connecting with you guys again. And I thought I'd sit down and work a little bit on this beautiful chart, which is called Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. I think I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge sampler person. I really admire certain samplers and I can appreciate how gorgeous the end result is when I see other people doing them, but I just don't feel the urge a lot of the time to sort of stitch them myself. And I've realized since I started my stitching journey, I think I'm more of a full coverage stitcher, or more of a stitch that does sort of landscapes, scenes, rather than samplers. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's absolutely fine. We've all got our own tastes. But this one, I don't know what it is about this one, but it just, the whole aesthetic of it, the way it looked, just appealed to me. And there will be on occasion a sampler that really appeals to me. And I'm working on, if anybody's interested, I'm working DMC 3808, which is this darker colour here. That's the sort of like a really dark green. And I'm working white, just an anchor white. And I think the two colours really do go together really well because it's such a huge contrast. And I've noticed that I really like contrast in my stitching. I like one colour to accentuate another colour. And of course I also like blended colours, but I really like when things contrast as well. So I'm working 2/1, and this is a 16 count Aida, which I purchased quite a long time ago and thought it would be perfect for this particular pattern. Although I'm not working on this pattern too frequently, I do get it out and work on it maybe at least once a week now. So I kind of got into doing a Sunday stitch with this pattern. That kind of sort of worked out because on a Sunday evening I'd sit down and say, well, what am I going to stitch? Or maybe I'll have a break from doing Hades and I'll just sit down and stitch this lovely sampler and get a few stitches in. So it's not actually going to be a very, very regular stitch, but it is going to be consistent. So I think if I keep to that Sunday mode, it mightn't get done by the end of the year, but it'll just keep getting progress and won't sort of get, you know, shoved into a cupboard and forgotten about. Because I don't know about you, but there has been times when I've put away a whip in the past and thought, oh, I'll pick that one up again next month or next week, and I haven't seen it again for 6 months, and I just don't know where the time went. But it seems like I either just forgot about it, or I had intentions to stitch on it and didn't get round to it, or I was just fully absorbed in something else that I was stitching. So it's totally possible to just completely lose your plot with one particular project or another. And I think that's just the way it goes with every kind of hobby you have. Some things make it to the finish line and some things don't. And yeah, like I've said before, I never really feel guilty about anything like that. But I do actually have intentions to keep on working on things that, you know, the things that I have. So I'm trying to keep them down to a minimal sort of number. So at the moment I've got like 5 of my whips that I'm working on, but I'm only really focusing on 2 of them the most, and the others just come out as and when. But obviously I've got more whips than that, but they're just, some of them I UFO'd because I couldn't handle the headache of having so many. But yeah, so what has everybody been up to? And my goodness, what are you guys stitching on? I'm sure that since the last time I have come and done a stitch with me, people have finished some projects, people have started some projects. I have noticed how popular these Bella Filipina charts are, and I have to say I haven't really delved into the world of Bella Filipina. I have seen people working on them. I've seen people going on Bella Filipina retreats. I think Teresa Little Stitcher went on one recently, showed us all the beautiful charts, and I think it was just amazing. If you like Bella Filipinas and haven't seen that video, go and check her out. She's done a gorgeous video on Bella Filipinas, and she's doing a lovely one herself. I haven't yet had that urge. I haven't had that push into the Bella Filipina river, so I don't know if I need to be pushed into it, to be honest. I mean, seriously, I've got enough whips to be getting on with. So I do really admire them, but I think more than the Bella Filipinas, because I'm not hugely into the fancy lady, that kind of fantasy lady kind of art. What I do like more than that, I think, is the chatelaines. I don't know if you pronounce it chatelaines or is it chatelaines. Anyway, I think that there's something about them which is really striking, and I'm wondering, when people are actually stitching, if you're doing a chatelaine, when people are actually stitching those, I think it's in 4 parts, so it's sort of like symmetrical. So you're doing the same kind of design 4 times in a square. Do people actually get tired of doing something 4 times? My only problem with doing a chatelaine is that I feel like it might drive me a bit mad, because I'm not known for doing the exact same thing more than once. I really hate the idea of doing the exact same thing or pattern or method twice. And I remember this when I was doing some knitting way back, and I got into my head that I wanted to do little baby booties and stuff like this. And do you know what? After doing one baby booty, I just could not bring myself to do the second one. I was just, oh my God, I have to do this all over again. It's not even like a baby booty takes a long time. It was just the idea of having to do the exact same thing twice. I don't know what it was about it, but it did not appeal to me. And I used to complain about it. So I stopped doing baby booties because doing the second one drove me nuts. This is why I've never tried to do socks, and I've never tried to do mittens or gloves, because it's really the same thing. And it's ridiculous, but I just don't like repeating something. So I wonder if I do a chatelaine, if I'm actually going to have that same feeling, and that's the only thing that worries me about doing it. If that's not the case, then I may put that down in my to-do future list, because I've seen some gorgeous ones, and there's one I particularly like. I think it was called Medieval Town, and it's got all like the little cities, and I'm really, you know me, I love all things medieval, all things to do with history. And talking about history, I wanted to say thank you to all of those of you and who, have gone into my recent history series and watched it and given me such fantastic comments. I mean, I'm really, really happy that people have enjoyed watching and listening. And there is one going up about the same time. I recorded it yesterday, so I managed to get it all finished. And I wanted to do 2 videos. I wanted to do just a general stitch with me, which is more relaxed and nothing to do with history really, and just my normal self chatting away to you as I do. And I also wanted to do this, the 3rd part of the Mary Queen of Scots Stitching History podcast. I find it really funny when I say that because it's such a huge sentence. History Stitch With Me podcast. So that's going up. So if you were watching that, part 1 and part 2 has already been up for a while, and this is part 3 going up alongside this video. And if you're not, absolutely fine. Not all of us like history, so that's absolutely fine. It's nice for me to be able to share something I love with people who have the same interest, and also to share the stitching and the stitching chat as well. So why couldn't I do both? It's no harm in doing all the things I like. I love the way people just dive straight in and do all the things they love: knitting, crochet, all the crafts and everything. I mean, it's not always about being so ambitious that you want to try and get followers and subscribers. I don't really feel that way about numbers. What I like is the actual sharing of the community and being able to share the things that I enjoy with everybody. I think that's what I really love the most about doing these videos. And of course, getting the nice feedback as well doesn't hurt. It does motivate you. It does give you a nice little tingle, makes you feel that people appreciate the effort that you put into things, because I tell you, it does take effort to actually make videos, and not only that, just keep up the progress as well, so that you've got something to say to people. So thank you again for watching those, if you were one of the viewers who watched those videos. So I don't think there's much else that's new to talk about, really. I mean, it's been a quite quiet, generally, month, and apart from having family visit, there hasn't really been much too different to going on. Nothing really that I can chat about. I have been working on Riverwalk Charm, still working on that one quite consistently. I find that I'm pulling that one out a lot more frequently than anything else, and I don't know why that is, and I don't think it's because I have an urge to finish it. That's not the case, because it is a regular, and even if I do get an urge to finish it, I'm not going to finish it in a reasonably short period of time. I don't think it's that I want to hurry it up. I think it's that I'm just enjoying the actual chart, and if that's the way my brain is going, then that's fine with me. I'm not going to stress myself picking things up that I don't really want to work on. I tried that before, tried the whole routine thing where I said I'm going to do 200 a day of this chart, 200 a day of that chart, and it just didn't work, because I found myself stopping stitching when I didn't really want to stop stitching, just to go and do the other 200. And that, for some people maybe that works. It just kind of didn't work for me, and I thought, why am I stopping? I'm just gotten into it, really, and now that I've just gotten into it, it says here that I need to stop and just do 200 or something else. I just feel like it's too calculated and doesn't really fit in with the kind of relaxed hobby theme. So yeah, just picking things up and doing as many stitches as I feel like doing feels to me a little bit more relaxed. However, therein lies the danger of other things being left aside. But hey, we can't have everything, right? We just can't have everything. So coming soon will be when school finishes fairly soon, and my son will be off for 6 weeks. He seems to begin his summer holidays quite late in the year. I think he finishes school around the 29th of this month, so only in a couple of weeks, which is quite late actually. And he returns to school kind of mid-August. So it feels to me like kind of he's going back right slap bang in the middle of summer. But hey, we don't tend to really get a hugely hot summer. Having said that, we did last year get a few, horrendously hot days. But going back in the middle of August kind of feels a bit weird. But then he'll have 6 weeks of all to himself, and so I'm going to have to try and plan some things, or see what we can, if we can do some little weekend trips or something, because I think that will be nice. Because I didn't really plan anything at the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year just wasn't a great time for me, really. It was busy with still trying to settle into my home. There was a few health issues going on with my sciatica, which is still kind of plays up every so often, but I'm trying to be on top of it and control it, and I'm getting some physio help as well, which is good. So they're recommending some exercises and things which can actually help relieve sciatic pain. And but some days, there are just days where you just think, oh, you know what, I just can't be bothered to do anything. Just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. We're allowed to have 1 or 2 of those days a month, I think. But on the whole, I am up, and I am doing my thing and trying to get to grips with all this stuff. But the sciatica has been really sort of irritating at the beginning of the month, but I'm not going to let it get me down, because if I let it get me down, then I stop doing things that I enjoy. And once you stop doing the things you enjoy, it's a slippery slope downhill, honestly. You can go down that slide and it's hard to get back up. So I'm not going to stop doing the things I enjoy, or I'm not going to start negative thinking. I'm going to stay positive, and I'm going to just try my best to, do the exercises that I've been told I should do, and just go with it and not think about yesterday or last month. I think the best thing I can do is just keep moving forward and keep doing the things I enjoy and stay positive. I think that really is the best thing for anybody who's suffering some kind of chronic pain, is to not let it overtake their entire life, because it really does try to do that. And yeah, I'm feeling positive for the summer and the rest of the year, and hopefully I won't have too many problems with the sciatica. I do feel like things are improving a little, not in a huge leap, but I've had less flare-ups this month than I have had in the last few months. And I think that's probably down to maybe just a little bit more healthier eating, and also not doing huge sprints of walking like I was doing, which was actually aggravating my nerve, but just doing everything more balancing everything that I can. And I'm trying to get to this point where I'm balancing not just my healthy eating, balancing my walks and my times when I'm sitting down, but also balancing my thoughts and thinking, not letting my thoughts just run away with themselves. At least trying to be aware. Awareness has been a big thing for me recently. Trying to be aware of when negative thoughts creep in, and even if they're there and they want to hang around, trying to just be aware of them. I think I have learned a lot through that. So it's really actually helped a lot to understand yourself and why you do things, and not just let things overtake you like negative thoughts, that you can actually put a stop to them. But anyway, I'm not going to go into all that sort of stuff. But all these things combined have given me a more positive idea, more positive feeling, I'll say, for the coming months ahead. And if I can get myself on track with this sciatica and maybe even lose a few pounds, because I do feel like my weight has crept up a little bit since COVID lockdown, and I think that's probably the same for a lot of people. If I can get on top of that a little bit, I might feel a little bit, more content in myself. So what sort of summer stitching plans do you have? Is there anything exciting in the pipeline? Are you starting something new? I feel like it's been forever since I started something new, but it actually hasn't, because I started butterfly ornament Aida not that long ago, but it just completely slipped my mind that I'd started it. And I haven't even got really far with that one either. I brought it out a couple of times whilst my mother-in-law was here. We actually sat down together, and I brought out my butterfly ornament. And I'm working 1/1 with a single strand on that one, and it just felt like it was taking so long to get anything done. And I've kind of realised for me that working 2 strands with 10 stitch, I feel like I'm getting progress quicker than I am doing the 1/1. So I don't think I will be doing the 1/1 cross with 1 strand ever again on a huge piece. I just feel like, my God, I felt like the blood was draining from me. It was taking so long just to get a square done. But anyway, what hasn't just been the cross stitch that I'd been doing in the last week when my mother-in-law was sitting with me. She started up. I brought out all my crafting bag, and I sat to do some knitting, and she kind of got into the humour then, and we were looking at patterns and everything. She started on a snood. Is it called a snood? That's a relatively strange word for me. She started on doing a snood, and I gave her some bits and pieces to get going. And she's already a knitter. She's not a beginner or anything. But it was nice to be able to sit down and do something together. She's not a cross stitcher. And I brought out my knitting at the same time. And I found a ball of yarn that I really liked. And I thought, I'm going to do like a one ball, scarf or shawl or something, so we can be sort of doing the same thing. And so I started on this little scarf, and then I realised that one ball wasn't going to be enough, as you do. And I thought, well, I wanted to use up this ball of yarn just to be using up stuff. Then I found that I didn't think it was big enough when I finished the ball, so then I had to trot into town. Luckily, I'd bought this ball of yarn very locally. I remembered in a store just up the road, actually. So I thought, I'm going to chance it and go back and see if I can get another ball. And I did. It was there. I got another ball, but it was kind of defeating the purpose for me. It was like I wanted to get rid of my stash, and here I am buying new stash of the same thing. So it was really stupid. But anyway, I bought a second ball, and if I use that whole ball up, then it'll be fine. But if I don't, I'll be back to square one with having more stash. So it's really crazy, but I don't think there's a lot of stuff you can do with one ball these days, unless you want a really tiny like neckerchief or like a tiny shawlette or something. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice to bring out the knitting and to sit down and just kind of do that together. It was nice and peaceful, and I kind of like that I have the option of picking out either stitching or cross stitch or crochet, whenever I fancy, whenever I'm in the mood. Sometimes I get a little bit irritated by the fact that there's not enough hours in the day, and maybe we've all been out and we're kind of doing all our stuff together, and then we come back and it's like 8 p.m. and I've got a terrible urge to do stitching, but I'm just too tired. I don't have the energy anymore, but I really, really, really want to. That is such an irritating feeling. You're kind of battling with yourself, and I just have to kind of give up or do something that isn't going to take up a lot of concentration, because it's really hard. You probably found it's really hard to stitch when you're really tired and you're sitting there thinking, I want to be enjoying this, but I'm not, because my eyes are sore, I'm tired, I feel like I want to stitch but I can't physically stitch. So your body's kind of letting you down. And I think in that case it's just best to just walk away, get a nice cup of tea, sit down and listen to a music or listen to an audiobook. I'd sometimes do that. I just lie in bed listening to an audiobook, listening to music, and just feeling really peaceful, and not trying to use my eyes any longer, because I find that I get very sore eyes when I overdo it, when I strain them. And I don't really want to strain them, but when I want to stitch, I want to stitch, if you know what I mean. So I've got better at actually recognizing when things are not good and actually stopping doing them. I think when I was a bit younger, I just used to practically kill myself. I'd be a complete mess and just keep going because. But now I've got better as I've got older at being kinder to myself and, allowing myself to stop a certain activity and just to relax for the sake of relaxing. I'm not a person that really likes doing nothing. I have to be doing something. So I've tried to convince myself that lying down and relaxing is actually doing something, that it's not a nothing, because I think it's important to realize that you do kind of need those moments of relaxation and rest. At least your body does anyway, and probably your mind does too. And to actually realize that it's not nothing that you're doing it for a purpose, for your own well-being. So I've kind of tried to convince myself that no, I'm not doing nothing, even if it's just for 15 or 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be you have to lie there for hours and hours. I don't think I could do that myself. I'm pretty active. Even if I'm stitching, I find that to be active. It's an activity. And again, I can't sit and stitch all day. I have to go out or do something. Even then, I can't sit down all day. And sitting down all day wouldn't be good for my sciatica either. So I have to, like I said before, keep things in balance and try to remember that. So now my in-laws have gone home and it all has gone quiet again. I kind of hate that. I remember saying this in another video. Kind of hate when people come visit and you have a great time. Then they go and things just feel flat. There's just kind of empty silence, and it takes another couple of days to kind of get back to your own routine that you had before they came. And there's kind of a sadness to people going away, I think, unless you really want them to go. But apart from that, there is a sadness in people. I don't like goodbyes. I always choke up a bit when I have to say goodbye to people I care about. And I met a friend recently, and she's an old friend of mine, so it was rather special. We were in school together when we were teens, and she came up to Edinburgh, and we met up for a short period, and that choked me up because I have so many memories built around this person. We did things in our teens, we know things that only we know, nobody else in this country knows, because we did them together in a different country, and we were just great friends. And that's kind of special. You kind of have a certain special link or connection. So when I said goodbye to her, I had a lump in my throat and I cried, because there are years of built up memories there. And it always kind of hurts when you say goodbye to somebody special. But that doesn't mean it's not nice to see people that you care about. You wouldn't want to lose that opportunity of spending time with people you love. Okay, so I think I've done pretty well here with this white thread, and I do like the symmetry here. Come to think of it, I've actually done the same thing twice. I've done the left side of this star or whatever it is, and I've done the right side of this star is exactly the same as the left one. So I've just proved that I can actually do a repeating pattern without going crazy. So maybe I could do a chatelaine. Isn't it ironic that I've just sat here doing the same thing twice, not complained about it after complaining earlier that I couldn't do it? Oh well, there you go. Do they call that an oxymoron? I'm not quite sure what that means. I really do like this pattern, and I do want to carry on stitching on it. I find that I want to continue. However, I find that other things are calling to me as well. So that's the one thing in the stitching world that it bugs me. It bugs me that I want to do more than one thing at the same time, and I've only got one pair of hands. And I've tried to get my husband to do my projects, but he just kind of goes off, doesn't pay attention to me. And good for him, because he shouldn't be doing my stitching for me anyway. So I think I'm going to leave it here right now anyway. Got a few things to do, and my son will be back very soon. So I've really enjoyed a little stitching session, catching up with you guys. Can't wait to find out what you've been up to and what you're doing. And I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for stopping by and spending a bit of time with me. It's been a lovely little chat, and I'm just off now to go and make myself a coffee, I think. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will catch up with you guys very soon. Take care and see you again.